Hey guys, welcome back to Matty J Plays, and welcome back to an update on my character. So I am now, as you'll see in the top right corner, a level 50 player. So I thought I'd show you my build and where my head's at in terms of why I've built my player out this way. And happy, please, for you to leave me a comment, ask me any questions you want. And obviously everyone's playstyle is different, and my build may not work for you guys, but this is just me and the way I'm finding the game to work best for myself. I picked Rhythm on day one. I have not transgressed from Rhythm. For me, I still think timing and swing path is the way forward, certainly for my style of play and for how I play the game. There's lots of debates in terms of all the other settings. I do try and round up as much as I can, and I'll come on to that. But certainly for me, Rhythm, I haven't changed from it. I have looked at the impact other archetypes will have, and I think it's important you do. I flicked between a couple of them to see the impact on my clubs and the fittings I have on my clubs. None of them really changed me for the better, so I've stuck with Rhythm. So I am still a Rhythm golfer. In terms of my skills, I have all the maximum skill points, guys. You will see I have favoured driver, I have favoured my irons, my wedges, and my putter. Primarily being they are the four clubs I use the most. There are some really good ones in here where you can get either putt path or putt weight, smash them on. So that's a putt path boost there. That's a putt path boost there. That's a putt weight boost, which was level 3. That's a putt path boost. It really helps with my putting. If you watch my videos, you'll see my putting is pretty good. So I chucked them on. In terms of these ones, again, I want a timing boost for my chip shots. I get a power boost from the fairway, and that is quite the double major power boost. Adds quite a lot of power, guys. So these skills aren't just superfluous. They do add a bit of power, and the iron has a similar one. So normal shots receive a power boost from the fairway. So if you are going to turn them on, I turn them both on to level 3. Because I don't like too much gapping between my clubs. So my iron will have a nice power boost, and so do my wedges normally at the same time. So hit 2 fairways in regulation, score birdie or better 2 times. They usually kick in around the same time. So these 3 pretty key. And then obviously on my driver ones, I have all the additional power I can get. You'll see, because obviously I'm a Rhythm player and I don't have the power. So anyone, that's a flight boost, which again, flight equals power in this game, guys. That's a power boost. I think I chose swing path there, and there's a few others. Shape and boost, I think that's a lie range, and I think that's swing path. So the flight boost and the power boost, these 2 kick in, and I think I go from a 288 yard driver to a 303. So they're not small, right? They are big impacts for just a couple of skills. So that's my skill loadout. You'll see I got 1 or 2 on wood, very little on hybrid. I don't use those clubs that often, and certainly hybrids. I might switch out my hybrid for an iron, so I didn't want to waste my skill points there. And the ones I have on seem to work for me. So that's where my 50 skill points have been spent, which is quite a lot of skill points. Once you get to level 50, guys, you can advance beyond level 50. But thankfully your player still levels up superfluously in the background, and every time you level up you get 250 quid. It costs you around 3,100 200 XP to level up once you're at level 50. So if you're a decent enough player, you do that every 3 rounds, so you get 250 bucks every 3 rounds. Not the same as the old game where you get 250 every round, but not bad. It's not debilitating. So let's move on to my fittings, shall we? And what's in my golf bag? So my golf bags remain fairly static. I'm using this TaylorMade stripe ball. I just like the way it rolls. I hated it at first, but now I can't seem to get away from it. I got the stealth driver that you win, I think, when you play woods the first time. So I got that on. The Ping woods and the Ping hybrid that I won from the sponsor, I think, for that set. I'll come back to that. I think these are the Vokey Smoke irons. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Titlist, but I think their Vokey Smoke was the name of them. And then my gap wedges and my putter, which fairly standard affair, right? So they're my clubs. I haven't changed them too much, but I will in a bit. These in here, they show you your basic yardages. So on the left, you'll see my driver originally went 274. With my fittings, I got up to 288. But let's get onto the fittings before I come back to this screen. So fitting wise, guys, I'll go through each club and tell you why I've put on what I have. Some of it you just do because you haven't got anything better to put on. Still at level 50, you don't win as many fittings as you'd like. I've been trading up quite a lot to get legendary and epic. I wasn't one of these guys who traded all my epic fittings because I think purple fittings have a value in this game. I know a lot of people just went red, 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 but not for me. I kept quite a few purple because I like to mix up my clubs. So I've still got these four doing nothing, but if I want to change the makeup of my club, I can use them. At the minute, my driver has pretty good loadout. So as I said, the base yard is 288. That equals 302 with my skills on. So that's a big yard. I don't need more than that. So I put a power head on. Then obviously, guys, I'm doing timing and swing path for my driver. So I've got a couple of fittings. That's a swing path +9. That's a timing and swing class +11 and +7. Brilliant fittings. You can see my loadout: 77 power, 88 and 94 for timing and swing path. A transaction 68. Again, I don't partial my driver really, and I always hit 100% power, so not fussed about that stat. Shaping, I've kept as high as I can, and lie range. Again, lie range, I don't use my driver from there, so I can sacrifice some points there. You can see I've got a lie range one currently on. That's primarily because it gave me a massive swing pass boost, not because of the lie range boost. It gave me a +9 and a +8 power. So a pretty good fitting. So again, guys, even if you're not favouring something like lie range, like I'm not, that gave me a power and a swing path boost better than quite a few others. If you look on the power one, it just gave me a +2 swing path. So that's why that's on. And then obviously my timing one, that's just a great, that was a good find, because that is an 11 on timing and a 7 on swing path, which is pretty good stats. And I've got these in reserve just in case I want to switch it up, see what they do, add stuff. If I want to favour timing over swing path, I can chuck another timing one on. You can see it changes my stats. But right now, that's a pretty good loadout. I'm pretty much hitting the fairways, probably 8 or 9 times out of 10. Fairly comfortable with my driver. Likewise with my woods. So you'll see I've got 2 legendary fittings unused here, guys, because I have a loadout for my woods that I'm quite liking at the minute. If you look, my timing and my swing path is 92 and 90. My power is more than enough at 249 yards for a 3-wood. Don't need much more than that. And then obviously the rest, transition, shaping, lie range, they're all up. Everything's above 70. So it's a pretty good club. The only option I might have is chucking a power one on and losing a little bit of timing and swing path just to get an extra few yardage. I'm umming and ahhing around that in my head. It gives me a bit better shaping and a bit better transition. So that's the only question mark. But right now, I'm happy with this loadout with the 2 purples. It's remained pretty static for a while. So unless I get a really shit-hot red one, or get a replacement swing timing or timing fitting, it'll stay this way for a while. Hybrid, as I said, I don't really use the hybrid as often. I use the 5 hybrid. This is my only club still with a blue fitting, guys. So as I said, and if you look at my stats, timing and swing pass 94 and 90, everything else above 70 rather than power and swing, rather than power and transition. Again, I like this club, it feels good. This blue one has remained static for a while. At some point I will try and get a timing one for the grip that is of a higher level. I don't have one right now. I probably will trade something specifically for it because I'm just not getting much by way of that. I could put this on the grip, but I just feel like I lose too much for me. So yeah, I like my hybrid. I hear it's a fairly decent club. This is the only one I'm looking to change out really on the hybrid, and I'll probably just try and swap for a red legendary timing fitting at some point for the grip if I keep the hybrid. The reason I haven't bothered faffing with it is because I don't hit this club much, and I've only got 1 club in my bag. That's the 5, and it might go. So onto my irons and my wedges. My irons and my wedges loadout are, you'll notice a pattern here, guys, fairly similar. Now these ones I'm not too bothered about the power. So on my woods and my drivers, I try to get the power up. On my wedges and my irons, I've been trying to keep it low. So you'll see my power is only a 65 here, and that's only because that one added 5, that one took away 4, I think that one added 4, so there has been some additional to my power, but not by my choice, just by the fittings I've got. But my timing and my swing path is 99 and 83 on my irons. I am going to try and balance that a little bit with a bit of a better swing path. This one I'm toying between putting on a legendary fitting, but it drops my timing down a little bit too much for me and adds way too much power for me. So I'm waiting to see if I pick up something a little bit more useful on the swing path stats without completely adding too much power to it. Because I don't want that additional yardage. I don't want these irons going that far. A pitching wedge of 147 yards is way too far for me. I'm comfortable with it at 138 right now. And the reason I say that is, again, because my skills boost this massively, way beyond that. So I'm happy with my loadout at the minute. It's looking pretty good. The stats are looking decent on the right there. You can see, again, power and lie range I'm not favouring. I don't tend to go in the rough too often, and when I am, it's easy enough to club up for me, so I'm not stressed. Wedges is a similar build again, guys. You'll see I've kept the put one on here. I've gone for 100% time in here. My power is superfluous to anything. I don't need it. I like the distance on my wedges. 90, 104 and 118 is perfect for me. Swing path, again, 93. To get that load out, 193 for timing and swing path, it's pretty key for me. Your approach shots, especially if I'm booming my driver now over 330 yards most times, I'm using these probably all the way up to 120, 130 yards in quite regularly. So I want to be close to the pin, and for me that's timing and swing path. Probably could do a bit of work on transition, because you will partial some of these sometimes, certainly for chips and splashes, etc. But right now I'm comfortable with this build. This purple one at some point hopefully will flip into a legendary fitting, but I'm comfortable with it. And my putter has been static since the start. They were the first 3 legendary fittings I got. I've kept them on. I got a putt path of 94 and a putt weight of 73. I've talked about it before. My putting is pretty good on this game, and I'm putting that down to my putt path. Nothing really deviates away from the line I pick, even if I have a massive push or pull. So I'm comfortable there. So that is my fittings, that is my archetype, that is my skill sets, this is my golf bag, this is where we'll end. As again, guys, if you're looking at this view in your own game, just remember the 274 on there is before the fittings. So if you want to find out what your clubs do if you were to remove all fittings, you can look in here. The right hand side then shows you the actual distance. It would have been handy to have them both on the left hand side, but hey ho, it is what it is. So with these normal fittings, you can see I've got quite a nice gap in. My skills and my fittings do mess with that a little. So if you look on the right, the 9 one's 150, the pitching wedge is 138, it's around 140, but then I've got a massive gap from 138 to 118, a 20-yard one. So I will be trying to bring my iron and pitching wedge, because your pitching wedge is probably irons down a little in power again, which will enable me to have more timing on there. But that's probably the only move I'm looking to make at the minute. Now I'm just seeing what the game gives me. If they better my game, great, but this is my build now. I'm comfortable with this build. I'm shooting double digits under par on master regularly with this build, so it's pretty good. As I said, guys, please drop me any comments, any questions you have, any ideas about your own build. Happy to hear them. And yeah, we will catch up soon. Peace out.